lifetime experience, which includes 26 years in the Air Force as a flight squadron participant and a leader, an officer, and just all around really a good guy and a good friend and a great customer. So we're going to have a talk show today, a conversation that he will lead, and then I will interject with some points and some questions. And we have a couple of guest speakers, panelists also. The topic is really unusual and very timely, I believe. And that's why I wanted to broadcast that. So what's the topic? The topic is, can friends be in business together? The role of friendship in a business relationship. This could be a challenging situation for many people, and certainly of interest to me. So when Ron Cooper arrives in studio, we will begin our broadcast. So thank you for being with us. Okay, we're back, and here is Ron Cooper and Dr. Ken Lloyd. Ron Cooper and I have an arrangement to produce frequent TV shows like this, and this is one of them. And we also have that special arrangement with Dr. Ken Lloyd, and thank you both for doing this kind of thing. It's a way of communicating across time and space, topics of general interest as well as specific interest, and have to do with mostly business to business, and how the personal sometimes gets involved in a big way. And today is one of those times. It's all about, well, Ron, why don't you introduce the topic better than me?
Ed, thank you for this opportunity, always to be with you and your audience. But the topic I want to talk about today relates to the topic that has been ongoing for the last several episodes, but it relates to friendship and leadership. Can they coexist? And on the surface, the answer might seem somewhat obvious or seem very elementary, even, but I do think it's worth talking about. And the topic is one that relates very much, but specifically from my perspective, to family run businesses and those with whom you have a long term relationship, but you want to maybe enter into another relationship, and that is business. And so I think the topic of kin, friendship, and leadership coexist. But Ed, I'll start. Well, let's say first off, I'm going to share my screen.
Uh,
And
I'm sharing mine, and now comes yours. Okay, that's
all right.
great. Great.
And the PowerPoint presentation. Can you see that?
Yes, workplace culture, can friendship and leadership coexist?
Yes. Now, can that happen? And before I answer that question, from my perspective, the topic is one that I think does frequently exist, and we need to have I think, from my perspective, have a clear understanding of how friendship, leadership work together. But I'll answer that question as we go through the presentation. But I start out with a graphic that is known amongst several people, 5 levels of leadership. And this is discussed in various forms, but I'll use this as a starting point.
Ron, if I
And
may just interrupt for a second, can you
yeah,
enlarge the font? Can you just
all
enlarge
right.
that so that we
And,
could see Pinnacle, people
all right.
development, all that a little clearer? We cannot see the lines underneath the headline.
All right. And you know, that's good to do. You point that out. And now, how do I zoom in?
Hmm. I,
And I
I can't
don't know
help
if
you.
I don't know if I'm gonna have even if I do zoom in, I don't know that I'll have the clarity to do that. But I'll tell you what,
Well, we could
let
try it.
me let me just yeah, how do I zoom in? So, and that's what I'm trying to determine how to
Okay, then
okay,
let's
magnify the slide.
that's it.
I
Yeah.
don't, okay.
Oh, that's
And now,
perfect. Okay.
well, the print is not clear, but
Yeah, so you
what
could
I'm,
read that.
yeah. And so, what we're talking about here is the lowest position on this 5 level, and we are progressing toward leadership as we progress. But the first position represents a position, or the first level is a position. The position might be in the form of, I have a business card that says Ron Cooper is, and then whatever the title. And so I have a position. It doesn't mean anything more than that, but people can read a business card and they can know just what position I have to which I'm assigned. The next level up is what some people call permission, and that is, you and I both agree that because of my position, I have your permission to lead you in this organization. And so, in a in an organization of friendship and so forth, you give me permission to lead, and that's the next progressive level up from that. The third level, some people call production, and that is, even though you've given me production or permission to lead, we in this business have to have production. And the production is whatever I call it to be, whatever, however I define it. But I, as the leader of this organization, define what that level of production needs to be. And then the next level up is people development. And what we're doing at that level is we are developing people in our organization that we've got to have productivity, but that productivity does include developing people for leadership positions. That person might take over my position as the leader of the company, but whatever that may be, it's people. I am in the business of developing my people to be better leaders. And then the pinnacle is that we have achieved our strategic goals and we are where we want to be with that. That is the general understanding with which I'm defining our presentation today. And now let me see if I can get to the
Okay.
next slide.
That's good.
So,
So I would like you to, when you have time, get into the transitioning and if you have any tips on training and development within a business environment with friends.
well, and that's largely what I'll be discussing, Ed. That in these 5 levels, again, the bottom position, or the first level is my business card says I am whatever that leadership position is, and so I am assigned a leadership position. It doesn't necessarily mean I am a leader. It's just that I'm in that position. So that's why that level is called the position. Now, the next one is the permission level. And ostensibly, you may not say this to me, but ostensibly, we agree that, okay, you're the leader. I give you permission to lead because you are the person in charge. And so I'm going to relate a lot of this to my farm background, my grandfather, my uncle, in how at an early age I picked up on some of this and then later applied it. But again, the first position of the first level of leadership is my position, and then the next one is you are a part of my organization. Let's just say Ed and Ken, you're each a part of my organization, and you at least tacitly agree that, yep, I am the leader, and you give me permission just by virtue of friendship that I am in a position to lead. And the next is I'm in the wrong, here we go, production. And so the next stage up is now we have strategic goals in our business. Now, even though Ed and Ken, let's say that we've known each other for a period of time and we have developed a friendship, let's say that I have a business and I now have asked you to be a part of that business. And let's just say we have known each other for however long we have, but now I want to invite you to be a part of my business. And so now for the production part, I need to explain to you strategic goals for our business and what this business is all about. Now, how do we transition from and how do I make known? I believe there are, if I can use the term, different hats we wear in each one of these levels of positions and or descriptions in our business. And what I mean by that is I believe we can, in fact, be friends, and that certainly can and it should exist. However, there are times that I, as a leader, might let our friendship get in the way of the production we need for our business. That can happen in the context of, let's say, Ken, I assigned you a task, you agreed to take it on. And I said, well, Ken, we need this to be completed by, and I give you a date to complete it. You did not get it completed. And now I talk to you, and you might say, and you're certainly implying, well, Ron, because of our friendship, come on, cut me some slack. I just couldn't get to it. And give me a break, would you please? Now, I need to decide that is our friendship going to override what needs to happen in terms of being a leader because we have goals in our company we need to meet. And so, do I just excuse the fact that Ken missed the date and just say, "Well, Ken, come on, I hope you do better." And but as a good friend, I don't want to risk our friendship. So, can you do better? And that poor performance, missing dates, might continue for some period of time. And I might not have the courage to approach Ken to improve performance, to achieve the production that we need. But here I'm talking about different hats that we need that I don't want our friendship to get in the way of leadership because we have production that we have to have.
May I
Now,
ask a question here?
please,
Uh,
yes, please
okay, so
do.
thank you. I mean, just it's a psych safety kind of approach, and I'd love to have Ken's view as well. So you got into this relationship on a pal basis of admire this person, and you found it attractive for your comfort of conversation and sharing ideas over a glass of wine or whatever, or dinner, but not a business relationship. And then you thought that maybe, well, you feel good around this person and you feel comfortable. Did you at that time also investigate somehow his business skills? Or I assume it's a him. So it's did you look into are they achieving things or are they on an upswing or a downswing? That kind of an approach.
Well, and I think, Ed, your question is very well founded. I, as a leader, need to discern if you're on an upward swing or is this just a friendship that we hope can amount to something. Do I know what your strengths are? And can your strengths contribute to the company goals that we have? My hope is yes to the above, but we have a friendship that got started. And my hope is we can discuss exactly before you enter into a business relationship with me exactly what it is I'm hoping to achieve because I do believe you have the requisite skills to help advance the company. Now, that type discussion necessarily, from my perspective, needs to go beyond just the friendship that, well, let's go out and have a cup of coffee and let's just kick back and so forth. But now we're getting into what the company is about, how I think you can contribute to the overall objectives of the company, my discernment of, and let's talk about, Ken, your strengths. Can you contribute to this? This now, in my opinion, needs to go to a level above just a friendship. But can you respect me enough as the leader of my company? Can I respect you enough with your strengths and the like that we can discuss exactly what I see your role is in this company and help advance my company objectives? Ed, does that address what your thoughts are?
Yes, I'd like to get Ken's look on this.
It's very, very interesting. With friends at work, it's helpful to have some ground rules right from the outset so that it's understood. Look, as a friend, I want you to know that our friendship will continue, but this is now working in a business context and in the interest of fairness to everyone on the team. I can't and won't be bending over backwards to help or to give you extra time that I don't give to the others. And to me, if someone said, look, we're friends and I'm not going to bend over backwards, I would say, I don't want you to. I'm not going to rely on our friendship for me to succeed here. So I'd like to hear that from the person, from the friend that we're bringing on, so that it's understood that, look, we're now in a business relationship. And as such, to be fair to you and to the others, we're really going to operate pretty much according to our goals, our standards, our expectations. And frankly, when managers start leaning over too much to be friends, they're undermining the effectiveness of that friend, losing that friend's credibility with all the other employees, and setting the stage for real complaints. So friendship is wonderful, and we value our friends, but to be fair to all and to our friends, we got to really run this thing and operate on a business-like basis. The little extra favors are going to create nothing but trouble for everybody.
So
And
I
I'll
also
advance.
invited
Yeah.
Paul Falcone to join us, but he's obligated at this hour, but would love to have this discussion at another time, just to put that in. Paul is extremely experienced in corporate matters and relationship, and very, very willing to share that information. Ken, you and Paul probably had that conversation in the past, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we've had lots of conversations about just about everything related to HR. Yeah, I agree with you. He's a well experienced, very bright fellow, and it's just great communicating with him and working with him.
Ron, what I'm hearing and what I'm feeling relates directly to issues that I had in earlier businesses that I attempted to build, and so I'm learning from you again and again and again, and this is really deep, and it is just super important because people rely on others for comfort, to go for a walk with or go out to dinner and bring others into the orbit, and then a business objective begins, and that it definitely changes the relationship. It could add wonderful value, but it could also be extremely challenging and motivating because my way of working towards a goal uh, is going to be different from your way. And that is where the negotiation is, isn't it, Ken?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's a point where, yeah, we want to be as managers friendly, personable, communicative, respectful. Uh, but if you let the friend aspect of it intervene too much, if you kind of violate basic ground rules going in, you're setting the stage for problems across the whole team.
And
Ron?
I'll advance what you just said, Ken, by saying that, let's just say, for example, that Ken, you and I have known each other for decades, and I start my business and I say, Ken, I think you could fit real well with this. Here's what I would do before you formally came on with our company, that as I know you, you know me, I would want to have a one-on-one conversation with you to tell you exactly what I see my role is as a leader in my company, what my longer term strategic objectives are. And I would ask you, Ken, what do you see? Let's together determine what might, just might, be any inhibitors to us working very effectively together to reach that ultimate goal, that I want to produce people and I want to reach that pinnacle level, that we have a productive company, while at the same time, Ken, I want to help you develop you to your maximum potential. Ken, let's talk about it in the privacy of our homes or wherever we are. What do you see as some potential problems? And there may be some aspect of our relationship that let's talk about it before we get into the business relationship. That's the kind of person I am.
So,
Yeah.
Ron, it would be, in your view, I'm reading this into my own head now, so please change the topic, or redirect my thinking, so I'm on the same page as you. It would be up to me. Let's just say with you and I are in that relationship thing, and in business, and so it would be up to me to say to you, honestly, sincerely, and in a non-threatening manner, or a non-divisive attitude as well. Ron, I really want to succeed, but I don't have the same skill set as you in this side of the world, this side of the business, this product, and you see things differently to me. What steps can you advise me to take now so that I could upskill, reskill, upgrade my performance?
All right. And here's what I would say to that, Ed. I don't want you to have the same skill sets I do. I want you to have complementary skill sets. You are good at things I am not good at. Ed, I see you as being very complementary to me. Now, that has to do with skill sets. Now, Ed, based on my personality, my style, what inhibitors, what might be an interrupter to us working together very effectively in a business role. And that's what I would ask you straight up, Ed. And if you see that, well, my personality is such, I have some traits that you don't see us working very effectively in a business relationship, then let's work through that right away. But then the maybe, okay, well, you know, whatever it may be that you see, well, we just need to try to work through that before we come up to a situation. And so those are just different things that I see could be. I'm not trying to project problems, but I am saying that, okay, we got to make sure that yes, we remain friends, but we also are taking on a business relationship as well. I can't have my company fail because, Ed, I'm let's say too tolerant or too lax in maintaining company standards. I'm not sure I'm addressing exactly where you're coming from, but that's what I'm trying to project here.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of clarifying expectations on both sides, so that what are this individual's expectations when joining your company, Ron, and what are your expectations, and not in a vague or general way. Let's really put the cards on the table, be very clear about how it will be, what the working relationship will be, and in terms of matching up skills, I agree from the complementary side, that's very important. It also opens the point that you mentioned about people development. So let's talk about that. If they really say, well, my skills aren't where yours are, what skills are you interested in developing? How can we work to build those as part of your role with the company, simply making everything and everybody that much more effective?
So that's the
I
role of, pardon me, that's the role, Ken, what I'm taking from what you just said is that's the role and the maturity of the leader to relate without any time pressure or innuendo or any kinds of threats, in the way that leader should express herself or himself with the friend who's in the employ in a junior position, relatively speaking. It's up to the leader to show the way, to make it safe for the friend employee to perform better or try a different pathway or a different approach to a problem. Wouldn't you say so, Ken?
Sure, but not just for the friend. This would be part of the
For
style
everybody, yeah.
and way in which exactly the individual leader operates to make those opportunities out there for growth and development available and provide support and guidance and coaching as needed for them, not just for the friend. That's just not how it should work in the organization. Again, unless you're looking to create divisiveness, competition among the employees, complaints, and frankly, less engagement and commitment to the company.
So I've had a bad experience doing this in prior, I mean, going back a long time. Uh, and I regret losing that friendship and losing that employee. And I didn't handle it as smartly as I would today.
Let
Ken?
me maybe just
Ron?
reflect on that, Ed, and learning from it. Ken mentioned expectations. I need to express to you what my expectations of you are, and that needs to be a joint conversation. You need to express to me. Now, having done that in a very psychologically safe environment, do you see any challenges coming up? And I think of this as critical thinking or going through some what if analyses. That can we discuss what any areas of potential conflict are before we even get there. And so I think this is a very candid conversation, Ed, you and I can have before we ever enter into a business relationship, that you know exactly what my expectations are, and you know what mine are of you, you know what yours are of me.
So I relate. I'm hearing and I'm relating to your presentation, our conversation on a prior TV broadcast recording about you were talking about the precision timing required uh, in the squadron, flight squadron.
Yes, all of that was involved. And I'm going to tell you that a lot of what I'm saying right now goes back to my early years on the farm with my grandfather and my uncle. I was a biological family member. And yes, there was a friendship involved, but as I learned, and I was at that point just I guess you use the term, a common laborer. I was not involved in the keeping their farm financially productive. But as I learned from my grandfather and my uncle what some of the factors are to keep the farm financially productive, I knew that I could determine in some cases on my own what I needed to do to help reduce expenses, help bring in income, albeit that was not my responsibility because I was just in some forms just a common laborer. But I knew then what is determined from my own expectations, and I applied my own expectations. My grandfather and uncle never talked to me in those very specific terms, but there were times that my uncle and grandfather would say, "Hey, you need to," and I took that right away. No arguing. I just say I need to adjust what I'm doing, but I knew it was all in the context of operating more efficiently, effectively, and so forth. I'm too young at the time to put that all together in terms that I can now, but I can say that even as a family member, yes, there are times that they could be friendly with me and as a family member, but there are times they had to be, let's say, stern enough to know that, hey, I'm a part of their business, and this all has to work together toward that common goal.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. In fact, if you're hired as what is perceived to be a friend of the leader, the owner, the manager, there's actually more pressure on that employee to show you're not here just out of favoritism or nepotism. You deserve it. You're smart, you're competent, you're hardworking, you have high initiative. Don't think, and this is part of the expectations, that because of this friendship or relationship, that this is going to be a free ride, because it's not. And I think, Ron, what you demonstrated in working for your uncle and grandfather is exactly why that football coach said, Ron's on the team. Everybody else has got to go through the tryouts, because you got in there and put in 110%. You did not approach it as, hey, this is owned by my family, I can just cruise along here. It actually incentivized you to work even harder. And I think that's what we'd like to see friends and family members understand and then do.
No, that's right on target, Ken. And when you mention nepotism, there are some people may not use that term, but yet that's exactly what can apply friendship versus leadership. That, well, nepotism applies. Ken, I'm going to I have a different set of standards for you because you're a friend than I do another person with whom I've not had this long-term friendship. That is what's known as nepotism, and that is not being equal to everybody. And so with that, we go to the next level of production. And Ed, I think you alluded to this, that I want to know what it is that you would like to do. I want to help develop you to be the person you want to be. If you might like to take over my position, or you might want to move to another position within the company, I want to help develop you to be the maximum you can be in terms of performance. I want to know exactly what your goals are in life, and I want to do everything I can to help promote you to be the person you want to be. To me, that's all a part of developing your people and having them know without any doubt that as a part of the team, I want to I want to be the catalyst, which, and I think for me personally, I feel that one of my callings is to be a catalyst. I am the one to help put into action what is best for you. I want to be that effective catalyst to help you become who you want to be. If you're satisfied being right where you are in my company and you don't want to progress, or let's say you don't want to do anything else, I'm happy for you. But if you would like to maybe do something different, I want to do what I can to train you, and I will do whatever I can to help train you to be that person that you become eligible to be, whomever you want to be, and go wherever you choose to be. But Ed, that's because I know you, and you know, there's no doubt in your mind, I have your best interests at heart.
I think this is exactly what Stephen Howard, author, coach, has in mind with Humany, how the boss needs to create a learning environment, like a university environment. Ken, am I overstepping that?
No, I don't think so at all. And we know, in particularly with today's younger workers, they're specifically looking for work that offers them an opportunity to pursue career development, to literally have not just performance goals, but development goals in terms of where they want to go and how they're going to get there. Not just pie in the sky, steps, strategies, benchmark dates, priorities. And as managers and leaders, if we support that, we're building the team, we're building their effectiveness, and we're clearly increasing the commitment and engagement of these individuals. So that's a key part of this whole leadership function.
And all of that is a part of people want to know they belong, they're appreciated. And so at the pinnacle of this, I choose to invest in other people. And my grandfather, my uncle, and each of the four men I've mentioned in previous broadcasts have invested in my life. I want to pass that forward, to use that term. I want to invest in other people's lives, in character development. I had a conversation just this morning, actually, with my dermatologist, as we were talking about legacy. And he thinks that legacy is we had just a little bit different perspective of it, but I want my legacy to be that I do want to develop character in other people. I want to pass that forward, and I want to be known to help be a catalyst to help develop other people's potential. And so you know exactly where you are with me. I want to know exactly who you want to be. And together, it's a very operative term to me, together, we're going to advance each other. And so with that in mind, this is all of what we're doing to work together in, but can we effectively integrate friendship and leadership? I think we can, but as a leader, I have to know exactly where I am with this. In other words, yep, we can be friendly and or have a friendship with a cup of coffee and so forth, but I cannot do that at the expense of people development, productivity, profitability, and the like. So I need to be able to effectively integrate all of that and have you know, Ed and Ken, if you would be a part of my organization, that you know exactly where you are with the organization. And Ken, as we have discussed numerous times, you know, if not literally on a daily basis, you know right where you are with me. And it's not the annual appraisal, but through very effective conversation, very meaningful communication, we know each other very well. And so if you're maybe can improve in some area, I want to be the type leader to where I'm not demeaning you, but I want to help you realize that if you were to modify just a little bit of something, that you can help improve your productivity and your performance. And so as that happens, then yes, we're in what I believe to be real-time communication with each other, and we are very effectively working with each other toward our company's stated strategic goals. That's a lot of where I am, what I'm about, but I will tell you, everything I'm speaking of today actually has an origin with the farm work of my grandfather and my uncle and the four men, and who helped me develop this kind of mindset, to where this is the type of teamwork, and I do speak on team building, that we can have a very effective team as we understand each other.
Is there a way, Ken, going back to your help column idea, uh, and also the book title that one of Paul's books, Having Tough Conversations at Work, but this comes from an attitude in the leadership, and in Ron, for instance, talking about his vision for the organization and how he sees what needs to be done that he himself is working on at that level. And it's sort of like a fireside chat on a weekly or monthly basis, sort of a town hall thing where the boss is talking about what is required from his vision and how the company got to where it is and where it should be, and how everybody in their own job positions at the current time can get the picture. Why are they here? What's the big picture? How do I fit in? And you, Ron, as the leader, already have a vision, and now you're watching how, for instance, I or Ken or Mary or Jim are taking their current skills as you see them and now developing those skills better as an employee.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. And let's just say we are in harmony with each other. That's a term that Stephen Howard has used, I use, that when we have harmony in our company, we are able to discuss these type matters, and we can discuss them very candidly. And I am a believer that we can always, people and processes can and should always be improved. And so I am an advocate that as we fail or let's say come short of any particular goal, let's work together to define how it is we can better improve the result. And when we have a relationship with each other that we know we've talked about numerous times, having a psychologically safe environment, we feel very comfortable discussing different ideas, any number of which may not merit moving forward. But I'm the kind of person that if you shut down the idea from its start and not even give it a fair evaluation, you may not get any other ideas from me.
And to Ron's point, sometimes when you think of a town hall or a fireside chat, it's one way. And a key element here to know what people are experiencing, how they're doing, where they want to grow, how they want to grow, is two-way communication. So when you're having your regular discussions with the employees, it means truly listening, trying to understand their thoughts, where they're coming from, and taking actively the comments that they're making and working with them from there.
So the sharing of those ideas is critical. The leader sharing those ideas, those insights from the leader's point of view, that communicates to every level in the company where they're going. Well, that's the destination.
Yes.
And then everybody has a role in that. It's okay to not know everything that the leader knows, of course, but how can I, as an underling, relatively speaking, do better or think better about what my role today can be or should be?
Well,
Yeah,
and I
that
will
doesn't
say to
really, I'm
that,
sorry, go ahead.
go ahead, Ken.
I was just going to say that doesn't really come from a lecture. It comes from a discussion where people sense that they're being heard, that they are trusted,
And
that they're
safe.
respected,
Yeah.
and then building from there.
That's right on, Ken. And Ed, I would say that I want to do everything I can to make clear the vision of my company and how you fit into that vision, how you contribute to it. And I want to discuss with you other strengths you may have or that you want to develop. And together we will. You know exactly where the company is going through my vision and how you contribute to that. The better I can clarify that, the greater the opportunity, the greater the probability you will stay with me.
I think this conversation is really timely and important to me personally. And I really thank you, Ron, for being the leader here. And because I think of, what I'm thinking about is where I want to take my business at this stage of life and stage of development. And I've shared some ideas with you both individually about why I'm doing this and why I thought that a weekly program or periodic program, doesn't have to be one a week, on ideas that were done previously in perhaps another generation, time to dust them off, bring them forward, as Philip Berry has told me, rebrand and repurpose it and re-energize the old idea. So he and I have just a wonderful business relationship, and it's become a personal relationship as a result of that thinking. And it's taken a long time, but there was never a timeline established. It's just developed. And so I felt and feel right now that I've learned a great deal and feel really, really comfortable, Ron, with you and Ken as an advisor and participant in where I want to take my TV talk show business and the kinds of things that it could be doing out there going forward. Uh, as I'm sure you both have noticed, this format that we're doing today is almost a light year beyond what it started out to be a year or two ago. And going back 5.5 years now of doing this kind of talk show. This is perfect, training and development for me. I thank you.
No, that's all good, Ed. It's great. And so I think as you maybe refine, possibly redefine, I'm not suggesting you need to, but as you add even greater clarity to your longer range vision of what it is you're hoping to do, then yes, I think every day can be improved. Technology is improving. How are maybe better ways to reach your overall objective. But as you have gained clarity in that, and you pass that clarity on to those that are partnering with you, that yes, I think there's you're almost guaranteed to get there.
So this is isn't this the same thing as you're doing and what your theme today is all about?
Oh, it is that, and I am the kind of person, Ed and Ken, let's just say that not as many people know me as will in the future. And I'm not the kind of person who wants to stand up on a table and beat my chest. And I'm not an advocate of bravado. But as I find those people, some people call it an avatar, but as I find those people who share my values, there are any number of people who will want to collaborate with me. Now, collaboration in my definition is to a mutual benefit. That's not one way.
Yeah, and this is how to build trust.
It is. And so we build trust through relationships, and trust is developed by demonstrating trust. And a leader must show the way and go the way. And when they do that, then you can gain a following from that.
Ken?
I think it's terrific to get, if you will, a lens to look at leadership per se and to look at yourself within that lens. If you're a leader who's relying strictly on position, you're not going to succeed. Why do it because I said so? See, you see the stripes on my arm, you see my title. This is what, that's not how you build an organization, how you build your team, how you build anything except resentment, probably rebellion and other kinds of negative outcomes as well. So here's a lens, and I like the mnemonic of it. They all start with the letter P, which makes it easier for leaders to remember. Position, permission, production, all the way up to pinnacle, which is that balanced, focused on leadership as well as getting to the goals, individual and developmental, and achieving the results that we have all gotten on board with. So I think this is a great lens to look at ourselves as leaders and how to build an excellent team.
So what I'm doing with my business, if you haven't already sensed that, is trying to find people around the world, business people, who want to use this vehicle that I've developed and still developing to build their own business and strength by practicing public speaking while on camera within a small group environment. And it's a win-win as I see it, and an opportunity for others to participate in. My challenge has been, for sure, and continues, although it's changing a little bit, morphing, is to develop a relationship that results in trust sufficiently to enter into that kind of an agreement and then guide it to happen. And what I'm reading in Stephen Howard's books is of that approach of leadership is stuff that I see exactly what you're doing here, Ron.
Yeah. What do you see, Ed, possibly holding you back, or do you see anything holding you back?
Day-to-day money concerns
Okay.
is a practical driver and fear-mongering thing, and considering my age and level, I and relationship around me, everything is meshing, and I need to educate myself more and understand what not to do and where to spend my energy and time. I don't know. I'm rambling here, but this is
No,
what I'm
is that
dealing with.
is that a matter of spending more time with those who share your values, your thinking, and maybe there are some number of people who tend to drag you down rather than advance you? Am I processing what you're saying correctly?
100%.
Okay, and you may be forced into having to prioritize your time, maybe you already do, but maybe spend less time with those who drag you down. That we all have people who drag us down.
So that is it. So what is the way that a business leader, Ron, at your level, what is the way that you see the vision, the pathway towards uh, correcting things that are not where you want them to be headed?
Well, a thought, Ed, is you make it very clear in your own mind, perhaps between you and Joanne, that you have clarity with your vision, with your company. Now, and maybe from there, who is not supporting your vision, and who do you feel is dragging you down? And Ed, there are times that you have to have what Ken and I may consider very difficult conversations. But I get a sense that Bob, Jane, whoever, um, you're not totally aligned with the vision, my vision of this company, and so forth. Am I hearing you correctly? And Ed, sometimes those are difficult conversations, but if you have people who are emotionally dragging you down, and even more so, maybe financially dragging you down, you have to have difficult conversations. And but you need to be very candid with them.
Yep.
And so, and I do clearly understand that can be very difficult. And so, I would ask the questions only somewhat rhetorically. Are you allowing friendship to get in the way of leadership? And that could be maybe what you're struggling with, maybe. And I'm not supposing I know, Ed, but you seem to be alluding to that, yep, you have some people who are not totally aligned with your overall objectives and they drag you down for whatever reasons.
The different, way different. So at one time I had a team, employees, and I was the last one to get paid. And uh, I think 9/11, going back to that level, that time, what just around that time, cause and effect, I decided that's it. I'm not going to have any more employees. I'm going to find partners and customers, and that's where I'm going to invest my time, not in team building, but team building, yeah, but it will be character and business relationship building that will enable a new life, a new pathway. And that's the route that I've taken for 20 years. And I think I'm going to go even faster, more forward, and because I think that's, life has changed. Look at what we're talking about humany in the business learning environment, like a business as a university can. Am I speaking the right words?
Well, I think so. I mean, certainly the idea of putting the human aspect into leadership is critical. But when you have those difficult conversations, uh, we can make them more difficult if we don't have good self-control. If you're upset, if getting overly emotional, using the word you too much, that builds defensiveness immediately. It sounds very parental. And giving feedback, you want to make it as constructive as you can. You don't want to gloss it over. You certainly don't want to just be nice, but be honest, be candid, but be a listener. And then be a coach. How can we go forward and correct and build on what's gone on here? It's a great learning opportunity. And I don't mean that in some trite way, but it's these kinds of conversations can be a great way to set the stage for further growth, development, and success.
Ron?
Yeah, I think, Ed, maybe a part of what you're discussing is know your own emotional intelligence, that emotionally some things bring you down. What are some things that can trigger negative emotions? That those negative emotions can in fact help your hinder your longer term thinking. And some people trigger those negative emotions. And Ed, you may be at a point where you just have to evaluate who is at that. I'm kind of repeating myself a little bit, but I do think that maybe you just need to have a let's say take a deep introspective look at you and who is affecting you, and you make an assessment of the direction maybe redirection you need to go.
Yeah, I've decided to find new customers
Okay.
and the customers who have different needs that I could possibly develop. And in fact, it's all about me learning how to be a consultant. In other words, teaching people to enjoy being on camera and sharing ideas in this kind of a format. Not everybody would do that, for sure. They have the thoughts of being, the imposter syndrome.
Yep.
I didn't realize how big that was until I started looking into, producing TV shows. And many, many people don't know what to do in front of this camera, and they stop.
And I'll tell you, Ed, very briefly, I don't have a problem sharing my background of what I used to be. And the whole intent of doing that is maybe other people can, after hearing my background and what I used to be, would be willing to, and I say be appropriately vulnerable, that's my term, but we're not here to dwell on my past, but my past used to be. And because of different people, I chose to surround myself with the right people who helped develop the positive traits that hopefully I have now. Maybe, Ed, you're looking for those kind of people who, well, I want to be better in front of the camera. I want to be a better speaker, but I don't know who the right person is, the best person with whom I can identify.
Just to hitchhike onto Ron's point, that's an interesting business model to put out there to say, look, these days you're going to be on podcasts, you're going to be on more virtual meetings, certainly more in Zoom and other resources like that. How do you do it most effectively? So you don't just go out there cold. Maybe you've got an inappropriate background. Maybe you've got distractions. I remember the very first time I was interviewed on TV, I'm sitting there and I'm doing this. And, because you talk to people and you're going back and forth. And afterwards they said, don't move like that. That's what the audience sees. They see any little aspects like that that will take away from the points that you're trying to make. If you're constantly doing this stuff or fiddling around, well, people could be given from Edwin Cohen, super experience in this arena. How do you really make yourself as effective as possible in virtual meetings and virtual sessions? And I think people would pay to do that. That's just off the top of my head. You talk about what you're interested in doing, the kinds of skills that you have to bring out the best in people in these sessions. Those are skills you could impart to them and give them feedback. No, you're not sitting there. You're way off to the side. You're distracted by sitting there. Get yourself positioned. You're talking too long. You're going too far. Be terse, be on the subject, which means I'm going to stop right now. Go ahead.
Well, and the note takers are recording every word,
But Ed, I will
but
say
not the emotion.
Well, to advance also what Ken is saying, you do need to establish yourself as an expert. And when, as Ken said, you need to stop doing this and so forth. And you may question, well, what's wrong with doing that? And well, the expert says it is distractive. And so when you establish yourself as an expert, then not everyone's going to believe you're an expert, but a target market will know you to be an expert.
So what's your next slide?
Well, the next slide is who I am. And if this resonates with any of your audience, I am happy to work with your audience, anyone out there who can see the benefit of these type conversations. And again, it's all about a culture, but when we have a culture that we have established trust with each other, we have, as we've talked numerous times, developed a psychologically safe environment. And a part of that is, well, didn't quite achieve the objective I was hoping for, but what do I need to do to improve? Together, we will, because we are advancing each other. I do want to share information with other people. You and my company, my family are not a threat to me. I want to share information to you because we are all going to advance through our cooperative efforts. So I'm happy to work with anyone who would like to have an in-person or virtual presentation. If there's an opportunity to speak with your company or group at any time, I can put together a half-day workshop. I can put together virtual or in-person seminars. Just tell me what you need and we'll craft a program to meet your needs.
So thank you so much for this. Before I let you go, I was reading, I read Variety, which is the entertainment industry Bible newsletter. So Top Gun 3 is the next generation, perhaps the last one of the series. But the role of a lady Top Gun. Did you ever have that in your team?
We did not have female fighter pilots when I was in the Air Force. They do exist now. And I will tell you that I am not a feminist. If a lady of any gender has the ability to think and operate the aircraft, I have no problem with that. And so I do know that, and this may sound different to some of your listeners, but when I do know that there are some capabilities that men have that women don't, just basic strengths and so forth. But irrespective of that, I am in favor of anyone who has the ability to perform the mission.
That is terrific. And I thank you for being my very special guest today. And I would like to go deeper into the future. It doesn't have to be next week, but when you're comfortable, to talk with the audience about taking yourself into an uncomfortable zone on purpose, but with a plan.
Sure.
Is that sounds like breaking through, going to a new level?
Well, and Ed, I do speak on operating in a zone of feeling uncomfortable. We're growing. We must, in my opinion, every person, every process needs to improve. And when you're doing that, when you're growing, I think you will necessarily feel uncomfortable. But yet, with the team together, we support each other. And so, yes, I am, wow. I don't know that I'm going to achieve the objective that I hope to achieve, but you're not threatened by that. You just know that, okay, everything I do is a learning experience. We're here together to advance each other. When you surround yourself with those kind of people, Ed, you're going to feel more comfortable being in that uncomfortable zone. But if you're in a comfort zone, I could argue the point you're not growing.
Ken, last word?
Oh, the last word, I totally agree with Ron on his comments, and frankly with you as well, Ed. But as we go on in life, we have to be continuous learners, because once we lose that motivation to learn and develop and grow, it's kind of game over and it's very easy to become obsolete, particularly in these times. So There are challenges out there. Things are different. There is some great old knowledge. Wisdom is what it's called. To use that, to not throw it out the window, but not to be so totally caught up in what's gone on in the past that we miss the future. And that means continue to learn, to read, to grow, to stretch yourself, and to go into areas where you're out of that comfort zone. That's really a good thing. It's not so bad.
And Ed, I will pledge to you next week, we will discuss how to move forward being in an uncomfortable feeling. And yeah, I will tell you right now, Marty and I are in that uncomfortable feeling, being unsettled, so to speak. We're trying to learn new things, and it hasn't. It has to do with artificial intelligence. And so I think, wow, we have a lot to learn. Yeah, I feel a bit uncomfortable, but together we're going to learn. Let's address that next week. How can we move forward feeling uncomfortable?
Okay, to psychological safety at no risk.
Yeah, and included in that will be the term risk. Will there be a risk that we have to take? And so,
Okay, Ken, please join us.
I'd love to. Thank you very much.
Let's see if we can get Paul to show up,
That would be great.
and we'll find a woman to join us too. Thank you. Okay, this is Ed signing off. And
thank you, Ed.
thank
you,
you,
Ed.
guys.
To both of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.